Nvidia and AMD are also reporting this week what they're doing with the speed of innovation versus the hyperscalers being able to use that equipment in over a consistent period of time.
So I'm glad you brought up AMD and them reporting this week. AMD had a much better year last year than it did the previous year, and it kind of, overtook performance. Nvidia had a strong year, but AMD had a standout year. Do you expect that momentum to continue? And from your perspective, where are the biggest picks and shovels opportunities right now?
Well, I think the market wants there to be a more balanced market. We're going to see that a little bit coming through with Google and with AWS. Both of those are silicon plays as well as big hyperscalers. Google with TPU and AWS with their own custom in-house silicon, which is on its, I think, 5th or 6th generation now. So I think there's strong stories with those players. We've got Nvidia, obviously, but I think the market also wants to see AMD sort of capture share and bring more balance. I don't see that as a negative against Nvidia. I see that the TAM is now so huge and is expanding daily, especially as we bring on inference workloads. I think we're going to see that pivot from training to inference, and for me, that's where the demand is going to be.
Nvidia's ambitious ambition to invest up to $100 billion in OpenAI has reportedly halted as internal misgivings arise. Nvidia rethinks landmark OpenAI deal. Nvidia's intended investment in OpenAI has been stalled after executives within the chip company expressed reservations about the deal's breadth and structure, according to the Wall Street Journal on Friday. In September, the semiconductor industry giant announced plans to invest up to $100 billion in ChatGPT Maker, a move that would have reinforced links between the firms while also assisting OpenAI in funding enormous data center growth and securing access to breakthrough AI processors. However, those familiar with the situation informed the publication that Nvidia and OpenAI are now reconsidering their relationship. Current conversations apparently revolve around a far smaller stock investment, perhaps in the tens of billions of dollars, as part of OpenAI's continuing fundraising round. An Nvidia spokeswoman informed Benzinga in an emailed statement that the business has been OpenAI's chosen partner for the past decade. We look forward to continuing to collaborate. OpenAI did not immediately react to Benzinga's inquiry for comment. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang has privately stated that the original $100 billion deal was non-binding and never formalized, according to the article. Huang has also raised concern about OpenAI's lack of financial discipline, particularly as the business ramps up infrastructure spending. The Nvidia CEO has also mentioned the increased rivalry that OpenAI faces from companies such as Alphabet, Google, and Amazon.com, which has backed Anthropic. The talks come as OpenAI is apparently looking to raise up to $100 billion at a valuation of over $830 billion. Major technology companies and investors, like SoftBank Group, are competing for deeper links with the AI startup, seeing strategic collaboration as a competitive advantage in the global AI race. Amazon is also in talks to invest tens of billions of dollars in OpenAI, with the sum potentially reaching $50 billion, Reuters reported Thursday. Billionaire investors rush to buy winning growth stocks that appear to be poised for further gains. Few stocks meet the criteria quite like Nvidia, which recently drew the attention of hedge fund billionaire David Tepper, who purchased further shares for Appaloosa Management. The hedge fund purchased an additional 150,000 shares, totaling 1.9 million Nvidia shares. Billionaire Daniel S. Loeb purchased an additional 50,000 Nvidia shares for his Third Point firm. Nvidia is the most established AI stock. Its multi-year surge has made it the most valuable publicly traded firm, but even now, billionaire investors want more. These are the reasons Nvidia continues to outperform the overall market. Investors who have followed semiconductor stocks for a long have probably heard a lot about rising AI chip demand, but the narrative is far from over. McKinsey estimates the semiconductor market is undervalued and might reach $1.6 trillion by 2030. Tech behemoths continue to dig deeper into their budgets, implying that AI chipmakers like Nvidia can continue to climb. Nvidia earned $57 billion in the third quarter of fiscal year 2026, which concluded on October 26, 2025, a 62% increase over the previous year. It's quite difficult to make $57 billion in a single quarter, but one underappreciated aspect of these figures is how difficult it is for a firm the size of Nvidia to maintain a 62% growth rate. Nvidia's guidance indicates that it would earn $65 billion in the fourth quarter, plus or minus 2%. The midpoint suggests 14% sequential growth. Nvidia's Vera Rubin platform will launch in the second half of 2026. Nvidia periodically produces new AI circuits capable of handling larger workloads, and the next big chip will be available in 2026. Vera Rubin is a platform that brings together Vera CPUs and Rubin GPUs. It is far more efficient than the Nvidia Blackwell platform, which is now the company's most successful offering. Tech executives have gushed about the Vera Rubin platform. Elon Musk described it as a rocket engine for AI, while Mark Zuckerberg, Satya Nadella, and Sam Altman were among the tech CEOs who openly stated that Vera Rubin is an important part of their AI objectives. Join our investor community. Hit subscribe and like to get your daily Nvidia stock insights and tutorials delivered. With such high demand, it's easy to anticipate Nvidia continuing to excel and produce double-digit sequential growth. It may continue to accelerate from current levels. Companies who have piled up on Blackwell will actively purchase Rubin platform hardware as well. The AI race is very competitive, with corporations throwing caution to the wind as they gather as many resources as possible. Humanoid robots, self-driving cars, and agentic AI are examples of AI-powered technologies with the potential to alter sectors and increase demand for Nvidia chips. AI's ability to disrupt every business makes it too powerful to play it safe or wait for AI chips, electricity, and other inputs to become cheaper. Nvidia has been a no-brainer stock to hold in recent years, consistently outperforming the market. While some investors are concerned about the formation of an artificial intelligence AI bubble, the reality is that practically every AI hyperscaler has plans to spend a significant amount of money on AI computer capacity in the next years. There are few firms better positioned to capitalize on this spending than Nvidia, and I believe it is an excellent company to purchase and hold, not only for 2026, but also for the next 5 years. I have 5 reasons why Nvidia is a terrific company to hold in 2026, but there are certainly many more. 1. Nvidia has depleted its production capacity. Nvidia revealed during its third quarter Q3 earnings call that it has virtually sold out of cloud graphics processing units, GPUs. That demonstrates how high demand is for Nvidia's goods. Nvidia sold $51.2 billion in data center goods in the third quarter, so it is not selling in modest quantities. If there is a continuing supply bottleneck on computer resources, Nvidia may charge a premium for its products. This will help Nvidia maintain high margins, increasing earnings at a quicker rate than revenue growth. Nvidia is still doing everything it can to improve production capacity, and this will be a trend to watch in 2026, but being sold out right now shows high demand that isn't going away anytime soon. 2. A new chip architecture is scheduled to debut in 2026. Nvidia is also introducing its new Rubin architecture, which improves on the Blackwell architecture. Rubin significantly outperforms Blackwell's performance, using only a fourth of the GPUs to train an AI model and a tenth of the GPUs to do AI inference. These enhancements will encourage many people to buy the newest, more expensive GPUs, accelerating Nvidia's revenue growth even further. If you can get 4 to 10 times the performance depending on the work assigned to the GPU, while paying perhaps twice the price of the previous generation, it's a win-win situation for everyone. 3. China is back. In April 2025, the Trump administration halted all GPU shipments into China. This resulted in a significant drop in Nvidia's sales, although it appears that it will recover in 2026. Nvidia will be able to resume selling GPUs that meet export restrictions, but it will be required to pay a tax to the US government on each GPU sold. We'll see how successful this is, as Nvidia is likely to pass on the tax to its customers rather than bear it themselves. According to Reuters, Chinese enterprises have placed orders for approximately 2 million H200 GPU chips, which would generate a significant amount of revenue. While there is no easily available price for an H200 GPU, various estimates place it between $30,000 and $40,000 per unit. That would generate $60 billion to $80 billion in revenue for Nvidia. For perspective, Wall Street expects Nvidia to make $213 billion in revenue this fiscal year, so a return to the Chinese market would be significant. 4. Nvidia is not as pricey as some believe. Nvidia has developed a reputation as an expensive and overvalued company over the last few years, yet this could not be further from the truth. In actuality, Nvidia's stock is extremely cheap when compared to its big tech counterparts. At 24 times fiscal year 2027 earnings, ending January 2027, Nvidia is less expensive than many large technology companies, which trade at 25 to 30 times ahead earnings. This makes Nvidia a decently priced company, and it could be a bargain if its growth continues into 2026. 5. Winners keep winning. Nvidia has an established track record of accomplishment. That is something that cannot be reproduced, and when a stock has as much momentum as Nvidia does, along with strong growth rates, it is practically unstoppable. I'd rather invest with a company like this than bet against it, and its track record of outperformance is even another compelling reason to buy the stock in 2026. In just a few years, Nvidia has progressed from a promising technology firm to a semiconductor industry leader and the world's largest corporation. At the start of the COVID pandemic, the stock had a market capitalization of approximately $150 billion. Today, the figure is around $4.5 trillion. You don't get to that place without producing significant returns for shareholders. However, those returns have not come in a straight line. Nvidia stock rose steadily until 2018. The mini bear market in the fourth quarter of that year, spurred by recession fears, caused the share price to fall by more than half. The COVID pandemic caused a dramatic drop in the stock price, followed by a quick recovery. But the 2022 bear market inflicted the greatest harm. Nvidia plunged more than 60% from its high to its lowest point. If you were able to ride all of that out over the last decade, the benefits would have been huge. Nvidia stock increased by more than 27,000% over the decade ending on January 23rd. That means a $100 investment in Nvidia stock held for 10 years would have grown to $27,100. The next 10 years are unlikely to deliver similar returns, but there are still reasons to be positive. The AI revolution is still in its infancy and much work remains to be done. Nvidia has proved its potential to be a market leader in this field, and it should remain such for the foreseeable future. Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your input helps create a more knowledgeable community where we can all learn and grow together in the world of investing. Stay up to date with the latest market trends, insights, and key updates by subscribing to Investing Tutorial. We're here to help you make smarter investment decisions and stay ahead of the curve.
So we've got another big week for tech coming up. We've got Alphabet, Google, we've got Amazon set to report results this week. Let's talk about Alphabet and how you're looking at it this week. You say that Google is shifting from being a search company to more of an AI orchestration layer. For our retail investors at home who are trying to kind of make sense of all this, what does success look like in its upcoming earnings report?
So thank you, Diane. I think there's a couple of things I'm going to be looking for, particularly what they're doing in the cloud business, Google Cloud Platform. I think of the last few earnings, it's been above 30%. That's a key indicator. That for me is where their enterprises are investing and getting traction, and whether Google's getting traction. Then I think we're going to be looking into the rest of the Alphabet business. Obviously, search is the one that gets the headlines. They just made some recent announcements on Chrome as well, which I think sort of bolster that. But for me, it's the complete stack play. That's what I'll be looking for in the commentary. That's what I'll be looking for in the statements. Really how they're leveraging Gemini throughout the stack into Workspace, into Pixel. Will be, I think this is the first full quarter with the new Pixel 10 range of phones. So I think there's a lot here. I think there's a lot in the Google business. You've got to look at a number of different things, but that key thread that I'm going to be looking for throughout is AI. Is it infused throughout the entire story? Because I think they've got the stack. It's just going to be, can they bring that to bear?
In other words, signs of how maybe Gemini is changing how people use and interact online, use the internet online, essentially.
Exactly. I've moved to a Pixel 10 because of that AI story and leveraging Gemini. We're a Workspace customer. That entire stack, whether they can bring that and start to see that in earnings.
One of my sisters used to have a Pixel phone. It is a nice phone, I have to say that. I'm curious to know your thoughts on this, kind of how much these tech heavyweights are spending, right? What their CapEx looks like. And some are rewarded, some are punished for it, right? You had Meta and Microsoft recently who reported their earnings. Both are spending big, and the view was, you got to spend money to make money once upon a time. But now Meta got rewarded for big spending plans. Microsoft got punished. I know it wasn't just about spending. It might have been their cloud growth. But you tell me, do markets want aggressive AI investment?
So, Diane, as we look into Amazon that also reports this week, obviously a huge part of that business is Amazon Web Services, AWS. And I think the key indicator the market's going to be looking for there is, as you say, the CapEx spend. I think the difference here from where we were, we've had a lot of people try and draw analogies between 99 and the internet bubble. What we were building out there was dark fiber. We're not building out dark GPUs. Every GPU that comes online from my conversations with these tech leaders is being used straight away. Now there's some questions around investment life cycles, around depreciation of those expensive GPU assets, and we should be asking those questions. But we're not building out for future demand, we're building into demand that's there. And I think AWS is really well placed for that.
When you think about depreciation of those assets, how much does that matter? Because the thing I've heard so far is, it's not demand that's the issue, it's supply, right? So then you meet the supply, but then you have to have the next generation, and then what happens to the previous generation? And so how much does depreciation factor in?
So I think this is a tension between the likes of Google, Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, and their depreciation curves. I was with Matt Garmin, the CEO of AWS, before Christmas at their big event in Las Vegas, and he got asked this question specifically around how AWS does it, and we're multiple years. I can't remember whether the answer was 5 or 6, but it was in that range. I think where Jensen wants it to be is obviously every 12 to 18 months. So I think that's what the market's looking